Hello everybody, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it might be for you. I'm making a video here just to go through the SOL config in the game, and this is designed for people that already have SOL, they have custom shaders patched, they're trying to play online in these servers, and they're not getting quite the graphics they want, so they've kind of followed the video I have, or they're getting their 100 frames, 90 frames per second, and they're just not happy with some of the lighting and everything going on in their game. I want to show you today the SOL config, which you can use on the fly to adjust settings in the game itself, so you don't have to waste your time loading in, loading out, checking out a bunch of different stuff. You can literally do a lot of it in the game right here in this one window with 22 pages. The only thing to note is that your post-processing filter, and as you see here, I have a modulated blue line here. Your post-processing filter will interfere with this page, and there will be some things on here that you can't change because in the post-processing filter, it's designed so they are fixed. If you have that issue and you want to change something on here, you can either try and get it out of the post-processing filter itself, or what you can do is switch to a default filter, set up your graphics how you like them, and come in here from a clean slate and pretty much go from the ground up with your own style of lighting, reflections, everything. So what I want to do is show you this. Now, the first page is not that big of a deal for anything. You can use medium, you can use ultra. As long as you're getting 100 frames, you throw it on ultra. You will only drop a few frames despite it saying ultra because it's just changing things in the game. It's not actually changing anti-aliasing or anything graphically intensive. So let's go through with the first page here. This one you can just come on and you can crank everything up. You can pick a setting. This one's not that big of a deal. Page number 2 only has this black light level thing and a color white balance, which you can see on the screen. I'll show you all these settings, and you can adjust these depending on the color that your monitor is displaying. If you're having too much blue, you can compensate with the white balance. If you're having too much yellow, you can do the same thing there. Now, the post-processing brightness and stuff on page 3, this just has to do with, essentially everything around you. You can up the contrast, you can up the brightness, you can change the saturation, you can have things oversaturated or undersaturated. This is one of the most crucial things to getting your colors to be displayed exactly how you want them to. Do you want to have an oversaturated, really bright, high contrast, cartoony look? It does look fun, there's lots of bright colors and everything, but it's just not very real. Or do you want to try and maybe go down here, a little higher than that, less this, less brightness, and try and give yourself maybe just a little more of a realism feel to it? That's totally up to you. You can come in here, figure it out. God rays are a big one at the bottom here. If you are driving through the sun and you have these really big rays of sun coming through the clouds and you can't see, turn that on. Modify glare, modify God rays, turn off God rays if you want. That's totally your call. Auto exposure, I leave it how it is. I don't mess with it. CSP lights, I also leave this as. I don't mess with it. However, I turn on controlled by SOL just to make sure that every setting in the SOL config is going to work when I change it. If you don't do this part of the SOL config, not everything in here will work. This is very important. Don't miss this. Don't be that person. Sky. Do you want a light sky or a dark blue sky? Blue presets. If you go through these, my sky is not blue right now. I can't really show you, but if you go through these, they will change the color blue of the blueness just very slightly. Just enough to notice it. It might just be enough to make the difference in your game. Blue strength, light blue to vibrant sky blue. That is what you're going to get out of this strength. It's going to be very dull at 0. You might not see any blue, whereas at full you will see full blue. Smog, you always want 0 smog, unless you like that smoggy look, and I can turn this on and show you. But I don't like that at all. Some people do. I hate it. I just hate that. That's so ugly. Okay, let's go on. HDR multiplier. If you don't have an HDR display, I have found that turning this to 0 will make it so the lights do what they should, and I won't get any weird flares of firework looking things on my screen. If I have this turned on, for some reason I get that. It might be because I don't have an HDR display. Maybe someone can let everybody know in the comments. That'd be nice to know. I'd like to know if that's messing with it or not. I can't really find that out online. Anyways, off to the next page. Clouds, this one here, You can have less of a cloud, you can have a more dense cloud, the shadows from the clouds, you got how many clouds are across a distance, and the quality of the clouds. Mind you, you should take note that turning this stuff up will slow down your frames per second, and it just gives more to display. It can be worth it if you're only losing 5, 6, 7 frames and you're hitting consistent 60 plus and you want some nice clouds. Come in here and change the cloud setting in here. Don't go to the SOL custom weather. Don't make new whole 3D cloud setups. You're going to lose way more frames. It's going to look great, but it won't be enjoyable. And when you're getting 30 frames per second because you decided to throw in a whole new 3D cloud layer, it's not going to look good because your whole screen is going to be lagging just because of the cloud. So come in here, do the default clouds in the SOL config. Don't waste your time. This is going to make you happy. This is fully adjustable. It will be good enough. And if it's not, maybe you should turn the clouds off and just go about your day. Alright, so here, I don't change the size of the moon or sun. Some people like that big sun with all that brightness, extra rays, all that stuff. I don't do that. I just leave this how it is. I don't mess with this. I just leave it. Sun color balance, this is kind of going to display the sun color and stuff and give a different reflection on the road. You can see it very mildly here. If you have it cranked up, you can really see where the sun hits the road. If you have it cranked down, you can't. AO visibility, this one is very important. I like my buildings and stuff to have shadow textures. If you look at the bus stop thing in front of me, if you look at the light posts, if you look at the buildings in the background, they all show a clear, distinctive color, and you can tell that there's some shadows going on. Whereas if you turn this down, all of a sudden those crisp shadows go off and everything kind of just blends with each other. There's no real, you don't really see structural shadows and stuff. It just looks like someone drew that on paper and colored it in. Show you again. I like that way better. Very nice. Effects multiplier, that's going to change all your effects at nighttime. It's not going to be drastic, but if you want a bit of a glow around your lights or whatever when they're flashing, it will increase that light glow a little bit. Brightness adjust, I just leave that alone at nighttime. I'm happy when my screen is dark. If anything, I try to make it darker at night and make my headlights do the work. Sense of realism, a little more fun that way. Moonlight multiplier, do you want to see your moon really bright? Do you not? I don't know if this affects the reflection on the road, but the same thing for stars. And I was kicked for the server for being AFK. Nice, 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 nice. That doesn't stop us. I shouldn't be doing that anyway. Anyways, what I will do now is we will go into the quick single practice. Now, if you just bear with me for a sec here while I load in, that would be awesome. Alright, we're in. I'm just going to open that back up now for everybody and go back to where I was. Back outside the car. And that's everything here. The stars will make your stars brighter. You will see them better. Night pollution, I don't use this. I don't even know really what it does. All I know is when it's on, everything looks okay. And when it's off, things kind of just don't look right at night. Reflection brightness and everything, this is really important. You can add yourself lots of reflections off of your vehicle and things without a drastic drop in frame rate, which is absolutely perfect. You don't need to go into Content Manager and turn on all of these reflection things to get a brighter reflection. You can do that right here at little to no graphical demand. That's huge. It's very, very important to know that. Saturation. I don't like a game oversaturated. It adds all sorts of weird colors and stuff. I like to turn this right down and keep it as realistic as possible, and I don't mess with the sound. I don't mess with the debug options. I don't mess with the sky. However, if you're in a daytime server, this is the screen that you can come to make your sky red, blue, purple, black, stars, whatever you want. You can come in here and just completely massacre your sky or make it better. I don't have a problem with the sky. I think the blue sky is very nice. The clouds are very nice. I'm happy with any sky. The sun, I don't mess with the sun. It's too hot. Nerd clouds. I don't know. I'm happy with the normal clouds. I don't mess with this stuff. Those SOL clouds I showed you before are great. The ambient stuff, I also don't mess with. Pretty much all this NERD stuff, I leave alone. I don't mess with it. I have no reason to. I don't know why anybody would want fog in their game, but if you do want fog, here's a screen to add all sorts of fog and stuff like that. I just don't bother with it. I just want to have nice, crisp, smooth visuals when I play, smooth frames, enjoy my time, and not worry about stuff making it harder for me to see. I don't want to wipe anybody off the road. Moon, I don't mess with it. I'm happy with the moon. Night sky, I don't mess with it. I'm happy with the night sky. However, the CSP Lights is one of the most insane things that you can do to ruin your game or make it better. You can completely mess up your lights in here, and you can completely make them better. Now, if you turn up your emissive night lights, what you'll notice is when you turn on your lights in your dashboard, your lights get brighter, your headlights are a little brighter, there's a little more brightness around every kind of light, and if you're at nighttime and you crank it way up, the lights will actually be like glowing. You won't even see the tip of the light post. You'll just see a big ball of light around every light post. So that's how that works. Now the bounce light, whether it's day or night, is very important because just like real life, you need to have bounce light that is reflecting and refracting off of things in order for it to spread and to see it. If you don't have any bounce light, you don't have light. That's really important to know. No bounce light means no light. So what you want to do is you want to come in here and mess with these settings, and you want to make your lights look exactly how you want them to look, because you can do that here. You don't need Content Manager. You don't need to go in there and turn on all these graphically demanding settings. You can do it all right here. Track settings if you want to change a specific thing on the track. And I don't mess with this either. So that's the SOL config. Right there, you can do everything in this game. So much stuff to do with your settings, to change it, to make it better for you with display, and you will barely lose any frames per second while using the SOL config. If you go into Content Manager and you change a setting, say you want some reflection setting on to make them look brighter, and all of a sudden you drop 20 frames, you go, what the heck, man? You come into SOL config, make your reflections how you want them for little to no graphical demand at all. This is the most underrated thing, and everybody I talk to about doesn't quite get all this stuff. You gotta come in here, you gotta mess with it, you gotta go through these 20 pages, set up your game exactly how you want it to look, and enjoy your game the way you want to enjoy your game. That's all I want people to do, is to get knowledge from these and come in here and understand that you can mess with your entire game and nobody has to struggle with their graphical settings anymore. So come in here, check it out. Once you're done, if you like it, save it. Now the one thing you have to know about this is if you save a config, that will save. So if you're on a daytime server and you make your screen night and you save it and you go into another daytime server and you want to drive around the sunset, you have to go back into that screen setting and you have to bring back the normal sky. If you don't bring back the normal sky, it will be black and it won't be enjoyable. So that's the only thing you have to pay attention to, and other than that, come in here, make your game how you want it, and have a beautiful day. That is all that matters. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.